We are back. It has been a while. It's been a long time, Ethan. It's been like almost a month again since we've gone live, and a lot has happened since the last time we've gone live. The MLB regular season's come to a close, and I think, Ethan, both me and you are kind of a little relieved about that. The season was kind of dragging on a bit, as it tends to do there at the end of those 162 games. We're back. We're talking postseason, and I'm really excited to do so. We've got a really cool bracket, and I'm really excited to get into it. Ethan, man, it's been a while. How have you been lately?
It's been awesome. Two top 15 rankings. And we both stayed up until past 1 a.m. working on those. And
Ethan did. I fell asleep.
I actually did pass my exam, which was fantastic too. I think I did the math. I only need like a 17% on the final to pass the class. So we're definitely cooking in business finance, but let's go, Nick. But yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of the season, everyone was kind of, just kind of getting burnt out a little bit with posting and stuff. But I think this is probably going to be one of the best postseasons we'll see. I know nothing has happened yet, but it feels like even last year, you kind of knew it was the Dodgers, or, I mean, 2023 was kind of a huge shock with what the Rangers and the Diamondbacks did, like pretty outlier. 100%. But it definitely feels like this year in particular, everyone was on the Dodgers and, what they're going to do. Dodgers didn't really play their best baseball, to be completely honest. And a team like the Brewers shocked almost everyone like they do every single year. And you have teams just kind of, limping into the playoffs with the Tigers. So I think there's a lot of chaos that's going to happen. And I truthfully, I cannot tell you who's probably going to come home with the World Championship in 2025, because there's a lot going on this year in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people on Twitter say a lot that it's just kind of going to be Yankees Dodgers. A lot of people feel that way, but I don't know how you can necessarily feel that way this year. Dodgers sitting at the 3 seed right now, and the Brewers have that 1. I would really not want to run into the Brewers right now. They are just a buzzsaw. I want to get into all of this. Ethan, I don't know where you want to start here. You want to start in the AL, NL, or maybe?
I don't know. I kind of want to do the AL first. I think I like the NL a little bit more, to be quite honest with you.
Let's do it. So we're going to pull up the bracket for you guys to see here. If you guys can't actually see this on the screen, let us know in the comments. If not, we're just going to assume we're all good. But let's just start with the top ranked team here that has the bye, because that's kind of just. Or do you want to go based on the wild cards? Maybe we should do it like that.
I think we just do like top left.
Yeah.
And then we'll work our way down.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with that wild card there. Detroit and the Guardians are going to take on each other in the wild card there tomorrow. Ethan, initially, I know we talked a little bit about this before we even went live today. You mentioned that, you're not really fully bought in on the Tigers anymore. I don't necessarily disagree with you there. While we obviously still both have at least a decent enough amount of faith in Tarek Skubal to go out there and get a postseason win, I don't know what the same could be said about the rest of the rotation at this point. I don't know if I trust Jack Flaherty the same way I do the way he was going out there in 2024. Casey Mize, I mean, he looked great for the first couple months of the season. And since then, I couldn't tell you what he's done since then. I haven't really been following Casey Mize too much. But other than that, I mean, what can this pitching really do for this Detroit team, Ethan? I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mean, I know we have a little bit of a different agreement on Tarek Skubal. I think if there's a guy right now in the postseason that I want to go out and get your team a win, it's got to be Tarek Skubal. I think outside of him right now, I don't know if you can really trust anything. I know Charlie Morton was released and that was kind of their thing, and it just kind of fell flat. They still have some solid guys in the bullpen, with guys like Will Vest kind of locking things down, but just them crawling into the postseason and almost having a Mets style collapse, honestly, could have been worse than the Mets, to be completely honest with you. Having a 15.5 game lead and getting right up until the last 2 to 3 games. I mean, that was, you're kind of hoping as a Tigers fan, man, are we going to get in this year? It was almost locked, Tigers going to make it and Mets going to make it. Mets missed the playoffs and the Tigers barely snuck in. The offense, I still think is pretty capable. I think you could still have Torque come up with a couple of big hits. Riley Green is doing his thing. Javier Baez kind of had his bounce back season. Parker Meadows is reinstated in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
They have some guys that are really good against left-handed pitching too that can come up, off of the bench. I just don't see, the Linsanity kind of run that they had last year when they were like a 3% odds and they kind of snuck their way in and they just went absolutely nuclear and made Houston just look like a shell of the team, that they were. I really hard to bet against the Guardians. This is like a pure vibes team, and I know I mentioned to you off camera, the Cleveland Guardians this year had 2 above average hitters, which is crazy to say for a lineup. I know we'll get into the Yankees preview and you'll talk all about it. I mean, the Yankees almost entire lineup has all above average hitters. Guardians had 2. Jose Ramirez had a 133 WRC plus. Kyle Manzardo, who was one of your breakout picks, 113 WRC plus. Then it goes to Steven Kwan at 99. Other than like those 3, I can't really tell you another guy that like severely stepped up.
Yeah.
I got to lean probably towards the Guardians pitching. I mean, they have Cade Smith, who's been the most valuable reliever in baseball for 2 years now, which is crazy. I just kind of trust the back end of the bullpen more than Detroit right now. And I just think Cleveland's been there and done that. I think Jose Ramirez is still, one of the best leaders in baseball. I mean, you could talk about how underrated he is all the time. I don't really think you can still say that because everyone says he's underrated. So clearly everyone, knows he's good.
Yeah.
I think I just trust, the leadership of Jose Ramirez and the Guardians. They've been there. They're always going to, pitch you hard. Have a solid start from Tanner Bybee if he can step up in the postseason. I'm probably leaning towards the Guardians right now, especially with what we saw from Detroit, literally limping in with crutches to try and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an ugly series, in all honesty. I don't think this is going to be a very fun one to watch. I could be wrong. It could be honestly really fun, but looking at the Guardians lineup, I tried to dig a little bit deeper while you were going more into that. And the last 14 days, when you set a plate appearance, like threshold at 20 plate appearances, Ethan, they only have 4 guys with a WRC plus over 100. You'd think in that small of a sample size, you could get maybe a couple guys over 150. They got 2. And it's Jose Ramirez and George Valera, funny enough. So they're going to need some of these guys that, we don't see very often on like box scores and highlight reels. They're going to need guys like Brian Rocchio to step up again. I think, if I'm not wrong, he actually stepped up really well last year in the postseason.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Guys like CJ Kafis, who they brought up this year, who I really like. I think he's going to have a big postseason and play a big role for them. I can't remember if you mentioned Bo Naylor. I'm sure you did because he's been one of their only bright spots on the team. But Bo Naylor, J-Ram, they're going to have to turn it up. Kyle Manzardo, he showed it all this year. He's going to have to do it here when it matters the most. So it's going to be a lot of names people don't know anything of. Gabriel Arias, too. I mean, he's going to have to play a role. These guys have all at some point been good in the season. I'm looking for them to all put it together at some point in just a single game in this wild card. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but they can even win the series without that happening. So they don't necessarily need that against a Tigers team that I think, like you already mentioned, is just weak. Like they're just weak. Jahmai Jones is their best hitter right now. That should speak for itself.
Yeah, it's just been a really weird season in baseball, and I think especially for Detroit. I mean, I think you could say out of all the series, you could say this is like not the most fun series, but in an ironic way, it could honestly be the most entertaining series because, frankly, I don't think anyone has a real shot of saying who's going to win or what to look at. Because I mean, even if you want to go against the Guardians lineup against right-handed pitching for the entire year, literally a threshold of 80 plate appearances. So this is, like a 30, something like 25, 30 game sample size. They have 3 above average hitters. I mean, CJ Kafis is like a 42 game sample size with a 102 WRC plus. And even against lefties, there's 2 guys that are above average against lefties in the lineup. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think Tarek Skubal is probably going to go, walk in the park and dog walk the Cleveland Guardians in probably one of the games. Other than that, I'm not really trusting anyone else in that rotation right now. I think they probably should have addressed it more at the deadline. They really didn't, and it was like Charlie Morton stuff, and then it just really did not pan out. So I don't know. I'm leaning Cleveland. I think you've seen it in the playoffs. We saw that. I know, Big Christmas is not going to be a huge factor, but we saw it last year with the magic that they had.
Thank God.
They're a great competitive ran organization with a low payroll. They find a way to win. They play very fundamentally sound baseball. I think they play more sound baseball than the Tigers. So I'd probably lean towards the Guardians right now.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about the Guardians pitching. I mean, we talked about Scuba already. I mean, that's just your most reliable arm that you can throw out there in a
Yeah,
playoff
it's a given.
situation. But let's not disrespect this Guardians rotation at all as soon as we head into the postseason here, because when we set a timeline from the last 30 days to now, the three guys that I'm assuming we'll see, I'm not 100% sure if they've given who will actually. No, I don't believe one of these guys will be in the rotation, but Joey Cantillo 1.55 ERA the last 30 days. Gavin Williams 1.74, Tanner Bybee 2.12, all in 5 games started. So they're looking really solid with their starting arms right now. Slade Ciccone as well 3.90 ERA the last 30 days. So that's not terrible. They've got guys who could go out there and eat innings, can win games for them, can get quality starts for them. I think, you mentioned Cade Smith already. Like, we know what this bullpen's capable of.
Yeah, and I think, fundamentally, just defensively, like, Guardians just play very, very fundamentally sound baseball. This isn't a Guardians team, especially starting pitching, that's really OPS short. Yeah, OPS shorts are what? It's not going to be a team that like really strikes you out a lot. I mean, other than like Joey, there's not a guy with a K per nine. I mean, kind of near 10 other than Gavin Williams. It's a lot of like pitch to contact ground ball guys. I just fundamentally think that the Guardians are a better team going into it right now. And especially like Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams really stepped it up this year. I know kind of to start the season and even last season, it was like kind of shaky. I mean, bro, he really bared down. The fact that he was going to go out this year, if you were to tell people, oh yeah, Gavin Williams is going to throw, over almost 170 innings and post a 3.06 ERA with good advanced metrics. I mean, that's really all you can ask for Gavin Williams, a young arm that the Guardians are banking on to be the centerpiece of the rotation for years to come with a guy like Tanner Bybee, who they gave an extension to. So I think just the Guardians defense, there's a lot of ground ball pitchers, not a lot of swing and miss guys in that rotation. And, the Tigers rotation, we can kind of get into it, but everything in my body tells me it's the Cleveland Guard. Could be totally wrong. And like I said, it's really hard to predict this series because I think it's just the one that people are not, circling. But also at the same time, it can mean like you never know what's going to happen.
It sounds stupid to say because it seems like that's kind of, the way baseball is. It's just whoever's pitching's better is going to win. But that's literally the way it's going to be with this one. It's going to be just a lot of young guys the Guardians are throwing out there, and that's the only thing that makes me a little nervous. How many guys are going out there with postseason experience under their belt?
Right, that's a good point.
I'm not sure how much experience, just off the top of my head, Gavin Williams has, if any. I can't remember if he has any, but I'm almost certain Joey Cantillo doesn't. Tanner Bybee, I feel good about throwing out there, but if it's against Tarek Skubal, he's got it, got a pretty difficult task ahead of him. It's just, Stephen Vogt's going to go out there and make the right decisions. He's going to put his guys in the best position to win. So I'm not necessarily just going to be like, they're young, they're not going to be able to get it done, because I do think that they're going to be able to get it done, like you said. I'm just saying young arms are going to be thrown out there a lot. Let's keep that in mind when a team with Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and Casey Mize goes out there on a game-to-game basis. I know the Tigers' bullpen's not all that, and I know their lineup hasn't been good, but that is just something to, I think, keep note of.
And I will say, though, to the Tigers' credit, if you go and look at Jack Flaherty's numbers against teams that are in the postseason, pretty damn good.
That's really all that matters. I mean, none of that regular season numbers, none of those matter anymore.
No. And I know we've talked about it plenty of times on the show, and I know we were in a Mets space that was kind of, talking about a lot of wins early on. You got to get into the postseason, and I think that's all that really matters now. Doesn't matter how many wins you have in the regular season. Is your team built for October? Can you have starters that are piggybacking off of guys and working with different arsenals and getting different arm angles and different looks? Do you have guys that are really good off the bench against lefties? Like, that's what matters in the postseason. During the regular season, you can have your, Toby, your lineup, top 6 or 7 guys really carry you for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And a bunch of different other people with, roles on the team that are up and down throughout the year. A team like the Guardians is going to play scrappy baseball. They're going to have guys that come off the bench that are good platoon guys. And I think that's the key to postseason baseball. Another thing, too, Guardians aren't going to go out there and hit a lot of home runs. You're gonna need a guy like Kyle Manzardo and Jose Ramirez to really carry the threshold, because postseason baseball is great pitching and a lot of home runs. It was, same reason why the Dodgers did it last year, and the Rangers surprisingly did it the year before. It was great pitching from guys like Nathan Eovaldi and hitting balls all over the yard from multiple guys throughout the lineup. So if the Tigers do want to take this series from the Guardians, it's going to be, guys like Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, guys that just have, more power output than the Cleveland Guardians. And that would be probably their key to win, and just, big home runs in the big moments.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too, because like you already mentioned, Big Christmas, he's not going to be a factor in this one probably. Like, where are we seeing this power output coming from? It's literally just J-Ram, and it's literally Kyle Manzardo.
Right.
K5 for joining here. Yankees winning it all. Judge MVP, Ben Rice World Series MVP. Someone take a screenshot of this right now. I'd like to book it because I agree with it. Dude, Ben Rice won't be in that. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Ben Rice is probably not going to be in that game one lineup with Garrett Crochet pitching. So
I still think that's crazy.
I get it, but if they lose, you best believe my first tweet's going to be about why.
Oh, dude. Every Yankees fan's, where that was Ben Rice, Ben. Yeah, 100%.
You saw Jack Curry's Twitter earlier. That's what it was saying. I mean, when he put out the projected lineup. But
I did see that.
Last thing I want to say about this Tigers Guardians series before we move on. I mean, first of all, what an amazing series to just start off this postseason preview on. Like, we get an AJ Hinch managed team versus Stephen Vogt managed team. I don't think a lot of people are gonna look at that and realize how lucky we are to see just two really good managed ball clubs go at it for the wild card. Like, that's pretty cool. And then whatever team wins probably is going to give the Mariners a run for their money. So I like, as much as we've been saying, like, these lineups haven't been good down the stretch, like, want to reiterate again, none of that matters now. Really can be the Tigers can get hot again like they did last year. Guardians could do that exact same thing that the Tigers did last year. So, and also the Guardians were dealing with Clase really starting to perform badly, if I'm not wrong, down the stretch of that postseason. So,
he tanked. Yeah, he looked awful.
So, I mean, and the Guardians still were able to get past. So, I think the Guardians got this one. Do you think the Tigers get a game though? Because I certainly think this one's going 3.
I think they get the scoop ball game. I mean,
yeah.
I know that he's kind of, I mean, other than what last year in the playoffs, I think it wasn't even a dud. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 in runs, but I don't trust the Guardians that much against lefties. I think Tarek Scoopball has a pretty solid game.
I can't wait to come back to this like a month later, a week later, when the series is over, when Tarek Scoopball loses the first game and the Tigers go on to win the wild card series 2 games to 1.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's really, really hard to predict what happens, because frankly, the Tigers were the better team pretty much the entire year and were better than a lot of the teams in the AL. And they, to put it lightly, or actually just put it bluntly, they shit their pants the last 2 months of the season and made it a race. So could the Tigers go back to playing their, great baseball, looking like the best team in the American League, or do they kind of look like the shell that they've been putting up for like the last month and a half? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. My mom really wants the teams to get reseeded here. I don't know if you saw this. You got any feelings about that before we move on here to the Yanks and the Sox, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that would definitely be cool. I mean, I would like to. I don't know, not as much for the AL, because, like, I mean, Boston, New York, like,
yeah,
that's gonna be literally like.
I want that. Like,
I'll be watching. I mean, if there are 3 of those, I'll be watching every single one of those games. I can't say that about any of the other teams. To be completely honest.
Like, I mean, I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say either.
Right.
But as we transition here into the Red Sox and the Yankees wild card, first question coming in here from my man K5. Thoughts on Giolito getting left off of the Sox wild card roster? I mean, are we really surprised, Ethan? Like,
I don't know if it's because he recently pitched. I know that the Kershaw thing is kind of the reason why.
It's comments blocking us. My bad.
But he hasn't been like too terrible. I don't know.
The thing is when you've got Connolly early on your rotation right now, and he's looked the way he has to start his career, let the young guys play. I don't care if it's the postseason. I don't care if it's opening day or if it's just a random throwaway game that doesn't mean anything and you're out of the playoff race. Like, let a guy who can go out there and deal like we've seen Connolly early do. Granted, it was against the A's, but he looked good.
Yeah, and I don't even know it. Like I forgot what Giolito's injury like actually was. I don't know if that's something that he can come back later on, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming it might not be that. I know that you probably have Bayo as your number two. Do you want to just get into that series? Honestly,
Yeah, let's do it. I mean,
I
because you got Peyton Toley too. Like, there are arms that you can throw out there to start games that are way better than Giolito, in my opinion. Like, even if
think
he's
so
not
too.
playing bad.
Yeah, I mean, Giolito's ERA looks good. You can also look at his expected ERA and his FIP.
Exactly.
Low K numbers. I'm just not the biggest fan of Lucas Giolito, even when he was kind of dominant on the White Sox. No slight to him. He's obviously a good pitcher. He's in the majors for a reason and did deliver a good season in terms of standard numbers.
Yeah.
But I think you trust the upside of a guy like Connolly early and Peyton Toley, who, I mean, quite honestly, had the best fastball in the minors this year. And even Brian Bayo. I understand the K stuff is not going to be there, but he's really, really good against New York. Granted, are there's New York teams going to have slightly different players than they do right now? Sure, but I would probably lean towards a guy like Brian Bayo that's had a little bit more experience starting a game out than a guy like Connolly early. You could probably see like a Bayo and then like a mix of early kind of following him. I think that's something the Red Sox are probably already looking into.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't be throwing out a rookie who's had, under 25 or 20 innings pitched, kind of just roll him out there in New York. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true. I mean, but at the same time, man,
That's a big decision for a Red Sox team. Are you really going to roll? I mean, he's probably going to piggyback, but if you have him start out the game, and try and get guys like Grisham, guys like Ben Rice, Cody Bellinger, which Cody Bellinger smashes lefties. I don't think it really matters, which lefty you're throwing out there against Cody Bellinger. But I think it's a really interesting decision that the Red Sox are going to have to make.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because I was actually curious to see what our chances kind of look like against lefties if you were going to throw Garrett Crochet, Brian Bayo, and then run Peyton Toley and Connolly early in that game 3 maybe. Yankees are fourth of left-handed hitters versus left-handed pitching in terms of WRC plus this season, 113. It's only below the Phillies, Dodgers, and the Astros who missed the playoffs.
I mean,
Which, by the way, can we at least just celebrate the Astros missing the playoffs for a sec?
Yeah, I mean, I was totally wrong. I thought they would kind of sneak in there, to be completely honest. Seattle shocked both of us. I mean, I think. I mean, I'm not just. Hopefully, I'm not speaking for myself, but that Seattle completely shocked me from what we saw until the last month of the season because they were completely dead.
Yeah, and we both really love Seattle. Like in terms of the guys they got on the team, the development, the prospects. Like we love talking about the Mariners.
Right.
We were not fully bought in until about I'd say a month ago even, and we weren't really going live that often around then. So we haven't really been able to react on air to the Mariners being that good. They really proved us wrong. I thought the Astros were going to do what they normally do, and the Mariners were just going to kind of succumb to their usual ways. Didn't happen this time, so I'm really glad for them. But
right
back to the wild card, back to the rivalry, Yankees Red Sox. They do really good against left-handed pitching apparently this year, so I don't really understand why they're not letting Ben Rice go in that lineup. I hate to go back to it, but
I mean, no, I fully agree. I mean,
especially if they're going to toss these lefties out there.
If you want to go to just minimum plate appearances, you guys, which is, I mean, we just won off the Guardians in Detroit series. You guys have 11 guys against lefty, not just lefty, against lefties that are above average hitters. So I understand the early thing and kind of getting him out there. And granted, I think his stuff is great. I know we saw him in the spring breakout and we have stuff on that, but dude, this Yankees lineup against lefties is a buzzsaw. And
this is music to my ears right now, man.
I mean, I think so. I mean, you can even look at Jose Caballero. I mean, that is not a guy that the Red Sox are circling in the Yankees lineup. Jose Caballero is fantastic against lefties in his career. So, and he's done it with New York when he got traded and he's kind of revitalized himself after kind of the maybe the little poor output of power that he had with the Rays. He's kind of fixed his swing a little bit. Jose Caballero is good against lefties. Cody Bellinger is literally one of the best hitters in baseball against lefties, and I think he's probably the best like lefty hitter against them, other than a guy like Yordan Alvarez that we've seen in like recent memory. And I know Paul Goldschmidt. I know you watch him a little bit more. I know the production is still good against lefties, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of like extra base hit stuff.
Yeah.
I would probably still lean the Yankees, but it wouldn't surprise me if Garrett Crochet goes in there, absolutely shoves. Brian Bayo has his usual stuff against the Yankees. Granted, it's a little bit of a different lineup, but if you go and look at the numbers against him in his career, I think it's both even at Fenway and at Yankee Stadium, still equally good. And then you have a guy like Connolly early, piggybacks him, and then you roll out whoever, and you have Peyton Toley just unleashing his ridiculous fastballs out of the bullpen. I don't know. I'd probably still lean the Yankees, but it would not shock me if the pure vibes Boston Red Sox, even without Roman Anthony, find a way to win that series too.
Yeah, the Yankees for me are. I try to stay as unbiased as I possibly can, like the entire year. I think I've done a really good job this year of that too.
Way better than me, man.
But
way better than me.
I mean, I think they're in a really good spot right now in terms of just how they've been playing lately. Now, they did have a really easy schedule to end off, their 2025 regular season, but they went on an 8-game win streak to end the year. They're 9-1 in their last 10. The Yankees haven't been this hot all year.
And that, I will say, you did always point it out. It was like hit or miss, but if the Yankees kind of like get getting into October, they play a lot better in October too. So
they do.
The fact that they've kind of been heating up, and I definitely will give you credit on that too. And I will say, do you think, baseball and such as, do you think there's going to be an Austin Slater moment in this postseason?
That would be awesome. I would love that. That would be like the equivalent of like a Domingo Germán perfect game. Just like a random moment. Like if you get like a postseason walk-off homer from him or something, that'd be awesome. But the biggest thing with the Yankees and why I think that, they hold the upper leg right now is just last 30 days, dude, Aaron Judge is a 251 WRC plus. Again, I know he shits the bed in the postseason, for lack of a better term, quite a bit.
I mean, you could, yeah.
But I mean, I'd be interested to see what he was like the last 30 days before last postseason, because dude, I don't recall him being that good. Like
it was
unbelievable. I mean, it was like right now.
It's been the Kyle Raleigh, Aaron Judge MVP race the entire season, and even when Kyle Raleigh had the 2 home run game, Aaron Judge is kind of like hold my beer. He kind of finishes up with a few home runs, and still, I mean, it's just simply putting up. I mean, literally 10 WAR. I mean, I was looking it up today. He has more combined like offensive and defensive WAR than just the offense. I think it's like the Rockies, the Pirates, and like 2 other teams combined.
And doesn't I'm sorry to interrupt you, but doesn't Fangraphs WAR like penalize right fielders because it's not as valuable of an outfield position to them?
Yeah, so I mean, the guys like like center field, shortstop, catcher, like their Fangraphs is a lot better than using like Baseball Reference. But yeah, I mean, what Aaron Judge has been doing is remarkable, and like I said, especially against lefties, everyone's talking about Connolly early, Peyton Toley, Garrett Crochet. They could all shove, and there's a world where I have no doubt that they could do that. But at the same time, the Yankees are simply one of the best teams against left-handed pitchers. And I think, to baseball's point, and I think to your point that you made early on in the year, the fact that they kind of have those like little reinforcement guys, like everyone has a role. Years past, it was kind of like you're banking on Stanton to go nuts in the playoffs, which granted he does every single year that he's been fantastic, and he'll probably do it again. But you have a guy like Jose Caballero, you can come off the bench, good against lefties. Austin Slater, an outfielder that they addressed at the deadline, wasn't like a huge move, but he's been great against lefties this year and in his career. So I think, in my opinion, and I'm not speaking for you too, and you could kind of say what you want about it as well, I think this Yankees team is a lot better this season going into the playoffs than they were last year.
I kind of agree with that. And I think I was saying like a similar thing to someone, not that they were like better, because I do see the merit in saying that for sure. That's not like a totally invalid thing. While you did have Soto and Judge on the same team, you have Trent Grisham having a 30-homer season this year. You have Cody Bellinger playing out of his mind. Bent Rice playing out of his mind. Stanton. I mean, this team honestly just does look more complete. It really does when you just go top to bottom. Minus like Volpe maybe, but when you go top to bottom, the lineup's pretty damn good. And not only that, for the fact that they haven't had Garrett Cole to have the pitching that they've had as well. We didn't have Garrett Cole last year. Regardless of him being in that lineup, he was not, or in that rotation, he was not an arm that I felt confident with really going into the postseason with.
Right.
I believe, like, we all believed in him. We all knew he was going to give us our best shot to win. But I mean, dude, I felt just as good putting out like anybody else in that time, like even like Clark around that time. Like I felt really good about, and I honestly feel pretty solid about the entire team right now. Like I really do feel pretty solid if the pitching can just hold its own. If Fried, Rodon, even Cam Schlittler, bro, if he could just do something, like
Oh, dude, yeah. I will say to like kind of go like a little bit more into the Red Sox. A couple like I wouldn't even say like underrated dudes. Like one, Romy Gonzalez has been good
mm-hmm.
almost the entire year for the Red Sox. Rob Refsnyder is a guy that I'm probably looking at to do something against Max Fried.
Big name on the
Um,
show.
dude, if Rob Refsnyder was only if it was an only lefty league, this guy would probably have multiple MVPs at this point, because he is so deadly against them. I would definitely look at those two. God, I wish Roman Anthony was playing. It would
I know. Even
be
I do. Like,
unbelievable.
I really do wish Roman Anthony was playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look for those two guys to like kind of step up against Max Fried. Alex Bregman in his career has matched left-handed pitching too, and I think this season it's like a 139 or a 140 WRC plus against them. Those are probably three guys I'm looking at, and I mean, even like Carlos Narvaez, like I mean, was really good at the start of the year, kind of leveled off, kind of got hot again. It's been kind of up and down like the last like second half of the season. Is that a guy that kind of has a big moment? But I think against Max Fried, if there's one guy that is going to burn him, I think it's got to be Rob Refsnyder. That's probably someone I'm looking at.
I really like that shout just because, like I mentioned, he's a big name on the show in previous
Right.
episodes. We've mentioned him before. Uh, I'm gonna go with two offensive X factors right now that I've kind of been hearing being thrown around, but I mean they've been doing so good lately that I'm not surprised I've heard about it. Masataka Yoshida, if they could have him in that DH role, just putting anything into the gaps or down the lines, that's going to be huge because he's shown to be a Yankee killer in the past. He's got a 158 WRC plus the last like 14 days, Ethan. And then you
I mean,
look
I
at
like it.
another guy who we've seen be so clutch this year and just a guy who lives for the big moments is the guy who got him into the postseason. Ceddanne Rafaela has a 155 WRC plus the last 14 days. These two guys, if they are hitting and they are productive in this lineup, it's going to be really, really hard for the Yankees. They're going to be climbing an uphill battle, I think, because then you've got, like we already mentioned, Alex Bregman. Trevor Story even has looked good. Jarren Duran. I mean, this lineup's really good. Like I know we talked about how much the Roman Anthony injury hurts. This lineup still has a lot of guys that are just flying under the radar that could kill the Yankees.
Yeah, the two guys I'm looking at are Rob Refsnyder and even a guy like Nathaniel Lowe. Like he kind of have that World Series experience, with Texas, and really he's been pretty solid with the Red Sox. I don't know if there's any specific adjustments he made or pitch recognition stuff he worked with the hitting team with, but he looks a little bit like he was looking, with the Rangers. I mean, honestly, two solid years with the Rangers. Granted, I think one was a Gold Glove year, and he wasn't as good offensively, but the year before that, he was fantastic. He kind of looks revitalized. I think if the Red Sox are going to win the series against the Yankees, there's going to be guys like your Alex Bregman, your Jarren Duran to kind of step up. But it's kind of the same thing with the Yankees. Can a Jose Caballero step up? Can an Austin Slater step up? For the Red Sox, is it going to be a Rob Refsnyder or Nathaniel Lowe or a Carlos Narvaez, big hit? It's going to be from those key guys, or I should say opposite. The key, like the guys people aren't like really looking at as much. Like everyone's looking at Judge and Cody Bellinger, and I mean, fucking Ben Rice is going to be ridiculous next year with all the bad luck he's had this year. It's going to be those role players that they targeted at the deadline or even picked up off waivers, like a Nathaniel Lowe. That could be like the key aspect of them winning a series, because I don't know about for you. I know it's probably for you. This is probably the most anticipated matchup of the playoffs, I think, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, dude, I'm going to be glued to the TV for this matchup. I really, dude, I don't know. This might be a hard farm to reach when this series is going, but I'm sure I'll be all over Twitter during it too. Um, you got anything else on the series? I don't think I got anything else on Yankees Red Sox here before we move on.
No, I think we can just. I mean, we can really quick just kind of touch on. I mean, on Seattle and in Toronto. I mean,
Sure.
first of all, shout out Toronto, but kind of repping the team from the up north right now.
Mm-hmm.
Shocked everyone this year.
Yeah.
Alejandro Kirk had two huge moments to kind of put them over the edge to be the division champs. I'm really high on Toronto in the playoffs. I really didn't think anyone would be thinking that right now to start the season, but they have shocked everyone. I think their bullpen could look a little bit better in the playoffs too and really step up. And they have so many offensive guys that can contribute. Nathan Lucas has looked good. Bo Bichette, I think, is still on the IL, but guys like Vladdy, Dalton Varsho has been great in the outfield like he usually is, and in the pop has been good. And if they can get contributions around the lineup with even a guy like Addison Barger who can start to get going at really any time with kind of his hot streaks, and even on Seattle's side, Seattle the last month looked unbelievable. That rotation, I don't know what it's going to be kind of looking like. I know that there's been rumors about Kirby going to the bullpen, Miller going to the bullpen, kind of how that's going to shake up. But Eugenio Suarez has kind of stepped up. Second half Julio looks like second half Julio. Josh Naylor is probably going to be a guy that they offer an extension because he looks really good with the Mariners. And Kyle Raleigh is ridiculous. 60 home run season, could win the MVP. And Jorge Polanco, I think, has like one of the highest OPSs or WRC pluses, or I think maybe it might be slugging percentages in the league with high leverage moments. So Mariners are in a good position to win whoever wins that Detroit and Cleveland series, and Toronto's going to have it cut out for them if it's going to be Boston or New York. But still, the AL side looks definitely very promising in terms of just watching postseason baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Blue Jays just have a ton of pieces that, I mean, you've already mentioned all of them, but they've got so many guys that just can get it done on the offensive and defensive end too. We've talked about Springer all year. Springer's been unbelievable. Nathan Lukes has been a big bright spot, honestly, at times.
Been good.
It's been really good. And Ernie Clement too was one of those more valuable like utility guys, just that you could plug and play pretty much anywhere. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has a 2 WRC plus the last 14 days. But you already talked about Barger, Dalton Varsho. He's always as solid as you can really put anybody out there in the outfield. So I like what the Blue Jays have, and I think that while it did surprise us, like as a season as a whole, I mean, they look like the best team, I would say, maybe in the postseason. I don't know. It's hard to say that over like a team like the Brewers, but dude, the Blue Jays look like a force on both sides of the ball right now.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So Mariners, I mean, dude, I mean, you kind of know how I feel about the Mariners. I love the team. I love the players, but just history has a way of repeating itself. And
no, I agree.
I still think they'll be a championship series team this year, though.
I think if you don't want to look at all of the history stuff and team makeup, I think the Mariners probably have the best shot to take everything home. But to your credit, and I'm the same way about it, you kind of have to prove it to me before like I really hop in. But if there was a World Series pick that I would have, it would be the Mariners with a miraculous World Series win. Kyle Raleigh is kind of the guy that changes the curse for them. But at the same time, and to your point, history has itself of repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
They have to prove it before I'm really on board. But if I were to lean towards the team right now, I'd probably go with Seattle.
Dude, I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to pick Seattle, considering the way Luis Castillo and Logan Gilbert looked this year. I'm interested to see who does end up moving to the bullpen for him, but
yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, this Mariners team with Cal Raleigh and J-Rod are going to be maybe the most fun team with that environment in Seattle to watch in the postseason. I know I'm making like a lot of most this teams in the postseason, but like, I mean, this for sure is going to be probably the most fun environment to watch. A team that it just desperately needs that World Series, man.
I agree. No, I fully agree. You want to do San Diego, Chicago, or do you want to do Cincinnati?
I'm not going to lie, dude. I'm dying to get into this Cincinnati and Dodgers series.
Okay.
I want to see what you think about this first because I've seen people say Cincinnati's going to take this series.
You know,
that was my reaction too.
we
So
I was in a space with KD, and the main thing is like the pitching aspect of Cincinnati right now.
mhm.
Dude, if you can get like Hunter Green getting going, Chase
Hunter
Burns, I don't
Green
know if they're
and
I don't
going.
know I don't know if it's gonna be like a he comes out of the bullpen or he starts, but I mean, wherever they have Chase Burns, no one's touching that fastball. You have Nick Lodolo, you have guys like Nick Martinez. They have so many different ways to get you out. Emilio Pagan, even out of the bullpen, has been really good.
Mhm.
I do like the Reds a lot more than I was, kind of bashing on them to kind of begin the year. I just haven't been super high on them, but it's also like, I mean, dude, it is the Dodgers. But if Hunter Green has been doing what he's done all season long and just dominating MLB lineups, you have a guy like Nick Lodolo that can go in there and do the same thing. You have Andrew Abbott, you have Brady Singer, you have Nick Martinez, like you have Chase Burns, you have so many different arms that like I feel like people like really aren't talking about. And I know the offense is like kind of been all over the place, but Ellie's been hot recently, dude. If he kind of continues it in the postseason, you have a guy like Spencer Steer step up. You have I think it's a really fun series. And honestly, what you just said, it wouldn't shock me if they do take it because it's just a young, fun team. And I think the arm talent alone could definitely propel them, to top the Dodgers if they were to do it.
This to me is this year's Tigers. This is the team that snuck in and the young team that's got a lot to play for. Dude, you saw their celebration afterwards. Like that is not a team that wants to go home after one series.
Right.
And dude, they're 7-3 in their last 10, playing great baseball. The last 30 days, you've already alluded to the rotation, but Hunter Green has a 2.64 ERA. Brady Singer and Andrew Abbott both have ERAs below 4. All of them pretty much, besides Abbott, have been getting a good amount of ground ball contact. Hunter Green had an 11.15 K per 9 over that stretch as well. So in a wild card series, I trust Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, or Hunter Green in either of those games. Right now, the way Singer's
I
pitching,
would.
I trust him. I trust Hunter Green and Andrew Abbott to go out there and get you wins. I've been very outward about how much I love Nick Lodolo this season and what he's done and the adjustments he's made. I know you like Zach Littell and just being able to go out there and just,
I didn't even mention fucking innings eater legend Zach Littell.
Exactly.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of different ways. Am I trusting him in a postseason start?
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Probably not.
But if he can eat you innings, and even too, people don't really talk about in those blowout games later on in like the championship series and even the World Series, if you can have a guy that can kind of mitigate the damage in like a mop-up role, even if you're getting hammered by 10 runs or you're up by 10 runs, if you could throw a guy out there and he's going to eat 5 or 6 innings, that helps your rotation and your overall game plan for the rest of the series tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I think if the Reds do what they can do on the pitching side, I mean, Toby, we mentioned like what, 8 arms?
Yeah.
I think it was 8 arms. If they can get by the Dodgers, Philadelphia is still like kind of, a hungry team. JT, could leave. Kyle Schwarber's kind of on. I think they'll probably keep him, but there's a lot of aging guys that could possibly leave with expiring contracts. Nick Castellanos, guys like that. I don't know. You've kind of bought me a little bit more on the Reds than I was at a few weeks ago, and I think you bought me in a little bit then, and I'm definitely more bought in now for sure.
I hope I didn't make you buy in too much because what I'm about to say might kind of take you away from that. The Dodgers now, when we move over to them, they're currently on a 5-game win streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And when you look at the pitching, it kind of blows the Reds pitching out of the water right now the last 30 days. Yoshi Yamamoto has a .79 ERA over that same stretch. Emmett Sheehan, 1.42 ERA in that same
Emmett Sheehan's looked unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And in that same stretch, 2 other guys that have both had really solid ERAs that are both below 3. Both have been looking really good in terms of swing and miss as well. Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. Those guys are both healthy.
And Roki, even out of the bullpen, is chucking 100 now.
Clayton Kershaw's not on the roster. I hate that he's not on the roster. I understand why he's not, but I mean, damn well how good Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell are. Especially when they're healthy.
I mean, you probably just docked my Reds confidence level down.
I did it to myself, so I mean, I'm gonna have to do it to you as well. I'm sorry.
I mean, and I don't even. I mean, we can go into I mean, the lineups kind of smoke. I mean, I wouldn't even say kind of smokes the Reds.
Yeah.
What did it say? Max Muncy is playing in the series, correct? I'm pretty sure it was announced today that he. Let me just check
Yeah, I need to double check that.
because I did see it was either he was or he wasn't in.
Dude, Michael Conforto has a 100 WRC plus over the last 30 days. The Dodgers are winning the series, bro. If you get their bottom of the order going like that,
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like,
Max Muncy is expected to start in game 1, so yeah, that makes it even.
what's going on with Chase Burns in this series?
I think it's just like I don't know if he's going to get spot starts or he's going to piggyback. He could though, but I know he's been like out of the bullpen with like 1 2/3, 2 innings, and he's kind of been stretched out in terms of like being like maybe the bulk guy. I don't know. I think you could use him as a total Swiss Army knife. He hasn't thrown a crap ton of innings to be quite honest, and I think there's multiple different ways you can use a lot of these guys. You talk about like the piggyback stuff that a lot of teams are going to be doing. You could probably argue the Mariners a little bit more. I mean, we mentioned the Reds legitimately have. I mean, granted, Zach Littell's still been good. I'm still on the boat of like I don't know if I'm really trusting him against a really capable lineup in the playoffs. Could totally do it because he's a solid arm, but they have so many different ways that they could attack the series against the Dodgers, man. Yeah. So many different looks in terms of Lodolo throwing back foot breaking balls, and you have Chase Burns coming up there with 100+ mile an hour. I don't even know 1920 IVB fastballs with a wicked slider and just wipe out stuff. You could throw so many different angles, so many different just pitch styles at the Dodgers. If the Reds, and I mean, I think this is just a clear thing. If the Reds win the series against the Dodgers, odds are they probably won't. We're not saying that they aren't, but odds are probably won't. It's the Dodgers. It's going to be based on the starting pitching and how they attack the lineup. Because you're going up there against guys like Max Muncy, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. I mean, you got even a guy like Andy Paz. I mean, I remember like a couple months ago was like their seventh, but it was like a 130 WRC plus. They have so many different hitters that they can attack you with. You mentioned Michael Conforto. I'm still probably leaning Dodgers. Who would you pick, frankly? Do you see the Reds kind of edging the Dodgers right now, or are you just like it's at Dodger Stadium? It's kind of like odds are kind of stacked up against them.
Yeah, this is gonna be this is like David and Goliath right here. I want to say the Reds really badly, and I mean honestly, like preseason me would have probably just said like fuck it and say the Reds, but Chase Burns is out of the bullpen. Andrew Abbott hasn't looked as dominant as he has in the first half. Granted, he's still been good. If they can get that first game with Hunter Green, I feel decent about it, but they're gonna have to go through Goliath. Like that's what it is. This is what this team is. You've said all of the guys on this team that are that good, and not only that, Roki Sasaki's expected to be on this team as well. I mean, the odds are stacked against them. I think the Dodgers are going to get it done.
Yeah, I
don't know if they'll get it done against the Phillies, but I think they're going to get it done against the Reds. And if they don't, that's pretty funny. Like that's just pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Dodgers have definitely been. I mean, I would say below expectations for coming into the year, especially
Dodgers not being the number one seed here is for sure just.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, Milwaukee and Toronto have been just like the two best teams of baseball this year, which is like, I mean, dude, that is literally baseball for you right there, which is crazy.
Yeah. How are those like the two most northern teams? Like they're not, but they're up there for sure. That's also something pretty cool to note that both of those best two teams ranked in this postseason are pretty far up in the north.
Yeah, I would say yeah, for sure.
At least like in the top 3 or 4. Let's move down here. Padres Cubs. I feel like nobody's talking about this series at all. And this is going to be such a good series too.
I think so too. Dude, I'm not a betting man, and I mean, God, please don't listen to me because the rare times when I do, it does not work out. But I think the Padres have a pretty solid shot to take it all this year. I really do. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been on fire to kind of end the regular season. Jackson Merrill was struggling, but then turned it on the last month and a half. I think it was a WRC plus north of 150, 160. Xander Bogaerts has I think been a lot better than people expected.
Mhm.
And you have Ramon Laureano, you have Gavin Sheets, you have even without Jason Adam. I mean, granted, huge blow that he's not going to be there, but
Yeah.
you have arguably probably the best bullpen going out there with guys like Adrian Morion, Mason Miller, Jeremiah Estrada. Like, there's so many different ways that they can get you out. If you can have a guy like Nick Pivetta or a guy like Dylan Cease go out there and just give you a quality start, and you have big moments from guys like Merrill and Tatis, I think they could really shock people this year because I think they're definitely getting slept on. This team still has an insane amount of talent.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm glad you mentioned Jackson Merrill. He's been great lately with a 165 WRC plus over the last couple of weeks, but he dealt with all those like nagging, annoying injuries this year.
Right.
And now he's healthy, and we can finally see what Jackson Merrill can do on the brightest stage in baseball, which we've seen when Jackson Merrill gets into a game what he's able to do. And at the young age of 21, too, he's much older now, about a year older. So expect him to do more damage, especially for this Padres lineup. But the biggest thing for this lineup, Ethan, and also like the pitching, obviously, is all these deadline acquisitions going to show up. O'Hearn's shown up all second half for him. Laureano has looked really good for a majority of the end of the season. Mason Miller, are these guys going to show up? Like,
I think. I mean, I know we've kind of harped on it a little. I would say a pretty good amount, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it as much. But you need everyone to contribute. Like, if you look at any single World Series championship team or a team that's made a run, it is literally all guys stepping up 1 through 9 in the lineup. You can have a guy, in the Rays run like a Randy Rosareno, or even last year where it was Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton. But at the end of the day, the teams that have came up on top, it's guys producing all over the lineup. Is Gavin Sheets going to step up? Yeah, I mean, it's literally everyone through the lineup. Gavin Sheets, Laureano, Jake Cronenworth has honestly had a pretty good season and it's kind of been under the radar because last year was kind of a down year, but he's been pretty good in 25. Ryan O'Hearn, you know what Luis Ariz is going to do, especially in the postseason. If there's a guy on third base in the ninth inning, you're probably down by 1 run with 2 outs. There's probably no one else in baseball I'd rather have other than maybe Aaron Judge and Luis Ariz in terms of putting the ball in play.
I'd probably rather have Luis Ariz.
I mean, you could argue it. I mean, just the bat to ball stuff.
In the postseason, I'm probably just going to take Luis Ariz.
Yeah. Fantastic point. But I think that the Padres 1 through 9 is really solid. Even a guy like Freddie Fermin that they was a deadline acquisition too. I think there's a lot of ways that they can beat a team like the Cubs. And we'll talk about the Cubs in a little bit, but I think the Padres are really, really slept on. And just, in terms of the rotation stuff too, I think there's a lot of guys that can just go in there and they could just really lock the door. Yu Darvish has been kind of back. Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta literally has been one of the best starters in baseball, one of the best acquisitions in the offseason. So I like the Padres' chances in this series, and I really like them in terms of just the overall playoff picture because of just the guys in the lineup and some of the depth that they have too, as well as some of the deadline moves.
I just think they're for some reason like so under the radar this year. I don't know why. I just find beating a team like the Padres in the playoffs with just their track record recently is just difficult. And this Cubs team, man, I mean, granted they are on a 3-game winning streak, I should say. They are 4-6 in their last 10. It wasn't necessarily like the prettiest second half for him, I would say.
No, I don't think so. At all. That's a great point. I don't think so either. No, I agree.
Kyle Tucker wasn't good. I mean, they did get – what did they get Shota back in the second half, or was that before? I think that was at some point in the second half. I can't remember.
Yeah, it might have been.
But they got him back. So the Cubs do still have, a lot, obviously, that I think we have to look at and not really overlook. But I really think, you look at all of the changes that the Padres made at the deadline to make their team this good. It's no real wonder why we think that the Padres here are going to be able to go in and take this. You look at the Cubs, you look at guys like Michael Busch, Ian Happ's playing really well, Nico Hoerner as well, 1-3, lineups producing. The problem is the Kyle Tuckers, the PCAs, the Seiya Suzuki's haven't looked like their first half selves really.
Yeah, PCA's kind of again, was kind of hot to
He's been kind of getting it going.
exit. And then I would, and even say Suzuki, I think he had a multi-home run game to get him to 30 and 100.
He's been better.
My question is, and I'll kind of pose it to you. Cade Horton's been unbelievable. I have no doubt in the postseason that Cade's going to do his thing.
Do you trust Shody? I thought he had that rib injury.
Oh my God, you might be right.
I didn't know. I thought they were doing imaging on that. I'm not sure what they said about that, but there because I saw him.
If that's the case, then it's.
I don't know, man, because Cade Horton's been
totally forgot about that.
Good. But no, the thing was with that was I saw he was like puffing on a cigar during their celebration, and someone said
it's going to be Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, Colin Ray, Jameson Taillon.
Dude, still, Imanaga and Boyd right now, like.
I totally forgot about the. I'm out on that. I'm sorry.
If it was Horton and then Boyd and then Imanaga, I'd be feeling pretty good about making a case for the Cubs right now. But when you have the Cubs fan base saying Cade Horton hurt his rib because he puffed on a cigar too much during celebration, and that's why he's not pitching in the postseason, like it seems like the fan base right now is not really as bought into this team as they should be, and they did a lot to get here.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah. If that is actually true, that's what happened, and I know he.
No, that's not how it happened.
Like, bro, oh my gosh,
I don't want that narrative to be spun. That's how it happened. That's just what I saw someone say. As a joke.
If there is a way that the Cubs do win this series, I think Michael Busch has to kind of do what he's kind of done all season long. I think it's even a guy like Dansby Swanson, like. He's won a world championship. This is just, a total leader of the clubhouse. If this is a guy that remotely steps up offensively, you know what he's going to do, on the other side of the diamond. Those are kind of the two guys I'm watching. Seiya Suzuki and PCA, way leaning towards Seiya, just because he was one of my big guys in the offseason to have a career year. And, he's blossomed for, 30 and 100 this year. But PCA is, I think, the X factor right.
100%.
If PCA can have a huge moment and kind of set the tone of the playoff series, I think that goes a long way for Chicago. And also, too, Shota Imanaga needs to have a good start.
Yeah,
I think if the Cubs lose game one, I don't know if they come back from that. I think you have to win game one. I could be totally wrong about that, but I know Matthew Boyd's been really good this year. Colin Ray's been really solid. We kind of saw it with the Brewers stuff. And Jameson Taillon has been pretty solid with the Cubs, especially I think at home too, which I think that obviously does help them.
Mm-hmm.
I think you still need to win game one. I think if Shota goes out there and shoves and kind of sets the tone, I think it kind of eases you into it. But I think it's all dependent on game one, in my opinion.
Yeah, if they can go out there, win game one, I'm not sure if it's Shota or Matthew Boyd going out there game one. Whoever, either lefty, gives you a shot to win the game. Ethan, who are you throwing out there? That's actually because Boyd's been a monster this year. I'd probably go Boyd for this.
I don't know. I'd probably have to really look into. Honestly, real quick, I could probably throw up some of the hitter stuff and see what they're doing.
Let me see if they've announced it, honestly, because the game's tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely look that up.
Padres Cubs game one starter. I thought I saw
projected
Boyd.
It might be Boyd.
Nick Pivetta versus Matthew Boyd. So I like that matchup though. I like that for the Cubs. Pavetta's going to be hard to beat though. So.
Yeah, I don't do. Matthew Boyd has been a dog this year. He's, a little bit more swing and miss stuff than Shota, which I think is, kind of crazy to say. I don't think people had Matthew Boyd being this good with them. I don't know. I think it's very dependent on game one. I think a lot of the other series that we previewed, maybe other than the Reds, I think it's I don't know if Hunter Green automatically starts, but that's kind of maybe the first game sets the tone. I think in the Detroit-Cleveland series, that could go either way with, winning game one. And I know winning game one has a lot to do with this new wild card format with 3 games that we didn't, see even a decade ago. And same thing with Boston, New York. I think this is probably the series where game one, if you can win game one, I think that team wins the series for sure. I think there's too much momentum.
I see
especially in the Cubs' favor. If they can win game one, I think that really sets the tone.
especially like if you said, if PCA gets going, this is a guy who has so much emotion and wears so much emotion on his sleeve when he plays. The whole stadium, the whole team feeds off of him. If he can like just get not even a home run, not even a big hit either, if he can have a diving catch in the field, that could just ignite the entire team, the entire stadium. So PCA's got to do something. He has to make a play, whether it's on the field or whether it is at the plate. He's got to do something.
I will say so too, and I know we talked about the Yankees with it. Padres fucking mashed left-handed pitching too.
Yeah.
They're going to roll out a lineup. I guarantee you tomorrow, 1 through 8, Ryan O'Hearn 195 WRC plus against lefties.
That's
Laureano 176, Manny Machado 128. I mean, Martin Maldonado, dog, 120. I mean, they could roll out a lineup. Martin Maldonado is the GOAT. I think 1 through 9, or at least 1 through 8, they're going to have above average guys against lefties.
Mm-hmm.
So Matthew Boyd, I mean, he's been fantastic. Postseason's a different animal. He's definitely got his work cut out for him tomorrow.
Yeah. Dude, I agree. I'm excited to watch that game. I think that's going to be a great pitchers duel, hopefully. But
who do you think wins the first game?
I'm going to say the Cubs win. I think Boyd delivers a good start tomorrow. I think we get that. I don't know if they win the series, though. That's the thing. I think the Padres could come back off of 2 and rattle off 2 dubs on the road.
Do you think it's crazy that we're talking about? I feel like this baseball season was so fast. Like, we're already talking about postseason baseball. Like, it's going to be played tomorrow.
Dude, I mean, I feel like, we're like 28 episodes in onto the show, but we were doing shows when I was back home, like in May. That doesn't feel like too long ago at all.
Right.
And that was like 2 months into the season. So I've like vividly remember like writing out and posting like tweets from spring training.
Right.
So, right. No, it is crazy that we're really already here to the postseason. And do you want to talk about the Phillies and the Brewers at all here before we end the show? I know we've been live for an hour. We've covered pretty much everything, but
yeah, we'll stop it at like probably an hour 10. We could probably do like 7 minutes, like 3.5 minutes on each.
Sure.
My opinion, Phillies rotation is, it's up there with one of the best. If you take out Jesus Luzardo's like 2 blow-up starts, I think his ERA is under 3. Yeah. The dude has been unbelievable. And I know we saw it with Miami, and I know back in the day when he was with the Athletics, there were always flashes. He's really shown it this year. And this is like, in my opinion, and I know we've talked about it a couple of times on the show, this is like the final hurrah for the Phillies. I think this is. Oh, I can like hear
my bad.
You're good, bro.
Gotta fix the mic real quick.
But I think this is probably the.
Would that do anything?
Yeah, it's good now. But I think with guys like Kyle Schwarber, Nicholas Castellanos, and I know that there's been like even some drama with Nick Castellanos, and people are like trying to screw the narrative with him, which I think is ridiculous. The man just wants to play baseball for the Phillies. But this is like the last thing for them. You don't really know exactly what 26 holds. And they have a strong rotation, obviously a strong offense to do it. You have Bryce Harper. You have even Bryson Stott, who's been a top 10 second baseman in baseball this year. Kyle Schwarber went out and almost pumped out 60 bombs. There's a lot of ways this team can beat you. They've consistently been in the playoffs. And last year was not a good showing.
No,
but I think this is the final time for them.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to make sure can you hear me or am I still like?
You're good.
All right, no. So there is a lot with the Phillies here that dude, and we've seen it postseason after postseason. Red October is always electric there in Philly.
Oh yeah,
and it's a hard environment to go in and to be able to go play your best baseball. That rotation's a buzzsaw of left-handers, and I would be saying this is a complete wash for the entire NL, honestly, if they had Zach Wheeler still. I don't think there's any.
Oh, dude, yes. 100%. That's a good point.
But you look at the offense, man, and let's just look at the last 30 days and see who really has been really good here. I know Sam's talked about it a lot. Bryson Stott's been really good lately.
Oh, he's been a dog.
Like, he's been really good, and I can't remember if you mentioned Harrison Bader in there at all.
Dude.
Amazing deadline.
He's been arguably the best one, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm interested to see how he ends up affecting the Phillies because when he was with the Yankees, that was a huge spark for them in the postseason. And I remember that that postseason that Bader was with the Yankees just made me
It was that Cleveland series, right?
yeah. What, dude? I just remember he went on an absolute tear, and he
He
had like
did. He
insane
did.
MLB The Show card that after that, and I spent like way too much time trying to get it, but he's going to turn it up for them. He's going to be a very valuable player on both sides of the ball. JT Realmuto, even in the second half, has not looked terrible. Like I think there was a stretch there for like a month period where he was looking really good.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt about. I think really the off. I don't know because dude, they went ice cold last year against the Mets. I
But
mean,
where's the
being
weakness now? Because their bullpen's solid.
bullpen solid. I the pitching doesn't worry me. I mean, even Aaron Nola, like I know the second half stuff, he's still kind of like ticking up in terms of like the pure stuff in the velo. You have Christopher Sanchez, you have Jesus Cesaro, you have Ranger Suarez. I mean, I honestly, Taiwan Walker, like you could kind of ask for like just give me a quality start or like don't have an imploding start. My biggest thing, does this offense go cold again?
Yeah,
That's the main thing. I know the offense is elite and it's probably the calling card of the team. I would say definitely without Zach Wheeler, without a doubt, it was probably the rotation when Zach Wheeler was in it. But I think it's got to be the offense. This offense can't go cold again. We saw it against New York, and we even saw it against to finish out the D-back series when they went to the World Series against the Rangers. They went cold. They have to be consistently producing in the lineup, and that'll be the key for them to go deep in the playoffs. Because I have no doubt about the pitching, no doubt about the bullpen. Entire offense has to be consistent, and you can't go through another scoreless streak again like we saw against the Mets.
no, and one thing too that I feel like maybe we're slightly overlooking right now is that look who's behind them. They're either going to have to play the team who won the World Series last year, or they're going to have to play a team that just beat the team that won the World Series last year, and it has probably the most play for each other mentality in the entire postseason right now.
I love that. I
So I'm not gonna say like the Phillies are just gonna lose the division series because I don't even know who they're playing yet, but I don't know if they get past the division series this year. I mean,
I
you're
kind of
gonna
like
have
that too.
because you're gonna have two
I like
teams that
that.
have played a series. We see this every single year. This happens.
Yep.
We see that one of the best teams falls because they just haven't played. Happens in the
Right.
NFL all the time too. And I mean, this might be why my mom's saying reseed the teams, but with this playoff format, I mean, it honestly benefits the teams that just play more.
Yeah, and I mean, at least I agree with it too. I might even just want to play in the first series. Granted, the odds are obviously when you get the bye, you're already in that series. You don't have to play in the wild card. But at the same time, if you can win that wild card series and you go into the DS and you've been playing some fresh baseball and you can do little scrimmages and you could do lives against arms that like aren't going to be throwing. Definitely not the starting guys. There's only so much you can really do to kind of prepare for that. And I know it's like a little 3 game thing, but also you have a huge break between that, like a couple day break until the Tuesday. Then you have the series in the wild card on Tuesday. And imagine it stretches out to 3 games. So like I don't know. I definitely agree. And there is definitely a world where if the Phillies offense goes cold again in the postseason, what does it look like for 26?
Dude, what if we see a Reds team go to the NLCS and take
Oh,
out
bro, I would
the
live for that. Oh my gosh, I would
not
live for
saying
that.
it's we're not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying I would not be surprised at all to see the Phillies not get out of the division series. And since we haven't even talked about the Brewers yet, the same exact point goes for them. I don't care that they're in my opinion, by far the best team in baseball. Like they have two very solid teams behind them. Now, if they play the Cubs, I feel a little bit more confident for them. But if they run into the Padres, I'm not confident that they can beat them in a series there. Like
I I don't know. The Brewers are kind of going to be like my Mariners. They've been in it. Obviously, like the big Mets moment of Pete Alonso last year of kind of eliminating them off Devin Williams. The one thing for me, And I know Jackson Churio has stepped up, and I know, I mean, their team makeup in terms of offensive profiles is so much better than it was last year, in my opinion. Christian Yelich has looked great. Jackson Churio is doing his thing. Sal Frelick, Isaac Collins, like they have so many different guys. Bryce Terang has literally emerged as one of the best. I mean, like probably what a top 50 player in terms of F4 without looking at it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
easily like one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Oh yeah, I would I would say that they're a lot better built than they were last year. The only thing is I don't know how the power output is going to translate to October. The main thing for me, dude, is you have to be able to hit balls over the wall.
I
And
agree.
you have to, the pitching thing does not worry me. The Brewers have a pitching factory. That's always going to play. You've seen guys like Quinn Priester step up. I
Yeah.
mean, even Brandon Woodruff is back. There's Freddie Peralta, literally, you could probably argue, has been like a top 10 to 12 arm in baseball this year. I'm not worried about that. 1 year Uribe, even last year, a lot of people were kind of high on him. He's blown, I think, everyone's expectations out of the water. He's been fantastic. So I don't have concerns about that. Are they going to be able to hit for power in October?
Yeah.
They're going to have to do that. And if they don't, it'll be a DS exit for them, in my opinion. They have to be able to hit for power.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned Bryce Terang there, and I actually was going to mention someone else, and I'm not sure if Sam's watching, but if he is, he better buy at least a 6-pack for the postseason. I don't think he's going to need more than that, but if Sal Frelick can get something going, man, and hit a ball over the wall, imagine what that does for the Brewers in terms of just getting that stadium rocking and getting that team into it.
Right.
We saw what Garrett Mitchell did last year. So
yeah, that Garrett Mitchell moment was awesome.
Yeah, I just remembered that, like, when I was kind of thinking about that.
Oh man, dude, this is gonna be so fun. I'm telling
ready.
you, this will be the most fun playoffs in a very, very long time. Like, I truthfully, I have no idea what is gonna go on. I'm really excited. My ideal thing, I definitely want the Reds to beat the Dodgers. That would be so fun for them to face the Phillies.
Yeah, that'd be really
just
fun.
kind of, I think that would be awesome because you have the young kind of core up and coming team versus a team that like I think has to win this year because it's like maybe the last year with all their core guys. You have Milwaukee, who's either going to face San Diego or Chicago. Still don't know what that. I'm probably still leaning San Diego. And you have your Yankees versus the Red Sox, probably the most watched series of the playoffs. Not even probably, it will be the most watched series of the playoffs, facing a Toronto Blue Jays team who's looked unbelievable pretty much all season long, especially in the back half of the season. And then you have the biggest who's going to win matchup in the playoffs in terms of the Guardians and the Tigers, and they're going to face the Mariners, who are, in terms of Fangraphs and a lot of people, probably the World Series favorites right now. There's going to be so much that goes on, but the main thing, it's going to be a team that has all the guys contributing throughout their lineup, great starting pitching, and a team that can hit the shit out of the baseball, especially over the fence.
Yeah,
how it is every single year.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I'm really excited for this one. And I know a lot of people have, kind of complained about the last two postseasons, the 2023 ending with Arizona and Texas, and then 24 being a battle of the blue bloods and the Yankees and the Dodgers. But dude, this one's gonna be cinema. We got a lot of really good teams here, a lot of parity in the league right now, a lot of storylines that we haven't necessarily followed before, like Christopher Sanchez, like the Blue Jays being the best team in the American League, and the Brewers finally putting together everything and being the best team in the NL. There's a lot to really just be excited for, even if you're not a fan of any of these teams that are in the postseason. Want to particularly shout out Mets fans because I know they're going through it right now. Me and Ethan spent I don't know how long you spent, but I listened to that space for probably 4 hours while I was just doing other stuff around the house. And I don't think I've ever gotten more done around the house while listening to a Twitter space before, but our thoughts and prayers out to all of our Mets fans and friends out there that support that team out in Queens.
Absolutely.
But, don't really know what to say, man. I after hearing the way that they've been talking about the team, all I gotta say, man, is I feel for them. It's tough.
Yeah, I feel for them, but then they have Juan Soto for 14 years. So, I mean, to be completely honest, I don't feel
really damn good pitching.
Yep, I don't feel bad for the Mets.
So,
who is your before we end? Who is your World Series winner?
I'm glad you mentioned that because I would have been so mad if we didn't do that before getting out of here.
I'm going to say World Series winner, and one doesn't matter if it's the World Series winning team. Who is a player that steps up in the postseason and has their moment?
Has their moment, like as like a breakout, or just like the postseason moment?
Just post like who has a really good postseason?
Um, no, I'm gonna go with Bryce Terang. Honestly, I think he's put it together all year. He's broken onto like the scene as maybe not broken onto the scene, but he's solidified himself at his position as one of the best. And I think when the Brewers are in the spot they are, he's going to turn it up even more. He's been one of the best in their lineup all year. I really like what he's done. Um, I think he's just going to really show up on both sides of the ball. We know what he can do in the field. We've seen what he can do at the plate this year. I think he's going to do it on both sides in the postseason. And World Series winner, uh, give me the Mariners. Why not? Give me the Mariners. I really like what they've done all year, and they've got top to bottom a great team. And in all honesty, they've got the easiest route to do it. So give me the Mariners.
Shit.
They by far
Dude,
the easiest route.
I know.
Which is crazy because I don't think like any team necessarily has an easy route this year.
I will say I'm very high on your Yankees this year.
That's great. I'm not going to say it. That's great.
Very, dude. Oh man, it's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna do it because it's against the lefties. Fuck it. I think Cody Bellinger goes fucking nuts. I think Cody Bellinger goes absolutely nuts for the Yankees. It's going to be a lot of lefties in that matchup. This is one of the best guys against lefties, and I would say arguably, I mean, other than maybe Jordan and a couple other guys, probably the best lefty hitter, which is crazy to say. I think he's hitting like over 330. I'm going to go Cody Bellinger. Oh, dude, World Series winner. I want to go the Mariners. I really do.
You kind of just want to, just to do, like, you kind of just want to.
That's the only reason I'm not going to do it, because I still think inside of me, I can't fully be bought in, but I would say realistically, they probably are my pick. Dude, fuck it. I want the fucking Padres to win it, dude. I really feel like this team, if they can just have some solid starts from some of the rotation guys, in terms of Cease, Pivetta, Darvish, guys like that, they have, I think, guys in their bullpen that can be stretched out to an extent and be some spot starters. And they have the guys in the bullpen to lock games down. You talk about probably the best postseason bullpen, and that's even without Jason Adam. I'm going to go Padres. Probably not going to happen. My realistic pick is probably the Mariners. I'm probably going to still go Padres, though. They were my pick last year. I'm doing it again this year. And my player, I think Cody Bellinger goes crazy, bro.
I love that. I think Belly goes crazy too. It's in his blood. It's literally in his blood. His dad was a Yankee.
It's in his blood.
He's got to do it. But for the fact that there are, I believe, 2 Monday Night Football games going on tonight, and just not a lot of just overall, I guess, people really looking at a ton of coverage of baseball on X and everything, at least recently, to have almost 500 viewers on here live before the postseason. Yeah, thumbs up from Ethan. We really appreciate it. I mean, we'll get our cams back up here, but again, really appreciate all the support. We know we haven't been doing like consistent live pods recently, but off season, both me and Ethan want to keep going and do.
Off season will be probably more than in season for sure.
We're gonna have some fun shows. We're gonna make it like a bunch of theme shows. Obviously, we're gonna probably do more postseason stuff as those series go. Go on and work through them, but be fun. A lot of stuff to look forward to. Rangers top 15 should be out probably within the hour. Ethan, you think?
For sure. Yeah, I would say within the hour.
Yeah, probably within the hour, and then I think Blue Jays is tomorrow. And dude, we are like, yeah, Blue Jays and Nationals, and then by Wednesday we'll be done with these top 15 prospects. We'll start working on our top 100 list after that. I don't know when that's I'm not gonna rush to get that out because of how many rankings we've done in the last like month, but we're gonna have that out for you guys pretty soon here, as well as like an Inside the Diamond Substack. We're gonna get a bunch of shit planned for you guys for the rest of the off season and into the 2026 season. We want to do what we did here this year and do it better. So, Ethan, man, you got anything else for the people before we let them go?
Just please watch some baseball. Like I think this is seriously going to be the best postseason we've had in a long time. I really do, because I other than like the people that are really swayed towards their teams, I don't think anyone has a clue of what's going to be going on. I don't.
No, and even us talking about this for the last hour 30 minutes, I don't know.
I don't know.
We just gave you guys some picks anyway, but I mean that could like very well just blow up in our faces. We saw what the Tigers did last year. I'm hoping we see what the Reds do this year, and we can
Yep, and
come back.
we could see the I think it was like the 20 or like 19 inning scoreless streak that the San Diego Padres had after looking like they were going to beat the eventual World Series champion Dodgers. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so maybe we got another Arizona Diamondbacks and Texas Rangers matchup in our future, or maybe we don't. We'll see. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in on YouTube or X, wherever you're tuning in from, our accounts or Inside the Diamond. We appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day and just joining us to talk about some baseball. I know it's been hard with the Ryder Cup that just happened, and obviously NFL and college football is back, but we appreciate all the baseball people that have not left baseball yet in the rear view for 2025. So we'll be back here probably way before we were last time. Probably won't be like a month break or 3 week break like it's been, but
Not at all.
yeah, no, we'll be back soon whenever we were back, and we'll see you guys then. So have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but we'll see you all on some content tomorrow for this postseason for sure. Stay tuned here on Inside the Diamond.